You stay and see for yourself. And that they would dance and ululate and whirl around the bride. Come out, come and see. This child is as beautiful as a colored. As she walked on the carpet, which had been laid out so her white dress would not touch the red dust of the yard, I knew that almost all the people in our ward, Gothataone, would be at the wedding. Everybody, except the very old, the new mothers, the newly grieving, and the sick. It was 3 weeks since Tebogo and I had finished our Form 2 exams, and a month since the patient had been brought home from the hospital. After completing my exams in October, I dreamt of doing things, of going away while my mother and father were at work, of visiting my friends in their wards, and wasting the luxury of the day with our talks about boys and such. But since the patient had arrived, it seemed my mother did not even want me to leave the house. In my and Tebogo's room, I stayed in bed listening to my father complain about how much time my mother was taking, about Mabwikanyo, the day has begun, about Mabwikanyo, what will people say? About Mabwikanyo, people will think we are scared of work. Mama was a big woman, with a lot of energy and a miraculous capacity to complete half of her daily chores before the rest of the household awoke. Before the patient came into our house, when Mama woke Tebogo and me up at 5:30 a.m., talking her old stories about a woman needing to be up before the sun, she would already have a pot of soft porridge and a kettle of 5 roses on the stove. On weekends, she left early for funerals, and often by the time Tebogo and I awoke, she would be back, her shoes kicked off, sighing over her tea, poring over the funeral program, an addition to the pile she kept in her bedroom. Before, she was just like the other mothers. She shouted orders and called instructions for chores. But since the patient had been brought to stay with us, Mama was different. She still rose early, but sometimes she would put on a pot of water and forget to switch the stove on. Sometimes she forgot the name of the woman she had hired to take care of the patient during weekdays. Sometimes she called home from the furniture shop she worked for and forgot why she had called, or called home when really she wanted to call the district council office to talk to my father. On weekends, when she had to go for a funeral or a wedding, she came into our room, apologetic and full of bribery. I knew she would soon come. Mama knocked and opened the door. "Banyana," she called softly. Tebogo started snoring, the sound seesawing, and I wanted to laugh. I kept my face to the wall and my eyes closed. "Girls?" Mama said again, her voice invading the room. "Are you awake?" My bed sunk under her weight as she sat down. "Bwikanyo." She called my name. I turned around. I opened my eyes. I yawned and stretched my body. "Dumelang?" I greeted her. Mama looked all fancy in the dress made from the blue German print fabric that the married women had chosen as their uniform for the wedding, but her hair was still covered by the brown stockings she wore to protect it overnight. The skin on her forehead was raised and pulled back, so I knew her cornrows were tight and still painful. She reached her hand out to touch my shoulder. "I am up," I said, before she could touch me, and sat up on the bed. "I made you some fresh chips," she said. I folded my arms and leaned against the headboard, shivering as its coldness startled the small of my back. "I put a bit of brown vinegar on them," she said, "just the way you like, and some chilies." My mouth watered at the thought of the chips, cut in thick chunks, heaped in a bowl, vinegar drizzled, speckled with red chili flakes. "Mabwikanyo," Papa called from outside the door. "Please, woman." My mother turned her head to the door. "Everybody knows we have a patient, Ragwe Bwikanyo." She turned back and smiled at me. "Ow, mama," I said. "I also want to go to the wedding." "I will come back early," she said. "Then you can go." She had said this to me before, on a day I wanted to get my hair braided. I considered bringing that up, but though Mama had changed, I was not yet sure of how much backtalk she would tolerate without an instinctive back-of-the-hand slap, without calling in the reinforcement of my father. I had never minded obeying my mother, doing everything she wanted, sweeping the yard.